What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some funny things that people actually believe about Canada. As an American, I can attest to the fact that many of us believe some pretty crazy things about what life in Canada is actually like. So today, I thought it would be fun to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, what are the funniest things you made people believe from other countries about Canada? And I thought it would be pretty interesting to go through some of the top comments and stories from this discussion, starting with I was gaming online. He asked if we live in igloos. Yeah, I said yes. Yes, I said yes, we do. And our community igloo has finally got an internet connection hooked up. Right, right, because they were playing games online. And someone asked if Canadians live in igloos. If you live in an igloo, this may sound so ridiculous to Canadians. This might kind of sound like it's coming out of nowhere, but I swear, the truth is, from an American's point of view, when I was a kid growing up like a child, I also sort of believed that Canadians lived in igloos in like this winter wonderland. And that's actually not all that uncommon for small American children to think that, because we're taught it's cold in Canada, it's further north, and our imagination just runs wild, and it's also just kind of like a weird stereotype that we have that like, it's always snowing in Canada, which is not the case. I said yes, our igloo finally got internet. Yeah, that's right. For Canadians, it's like, maybe that's the best course of action, to just be like, yes, yes, we do live in igloos, coming to you right now from the town, from the town library igloo. We just got internet. Okay, let's keep going here. I told friends from England that depending on the season, we, in Ottawa, have 24 hours of daylight or darkness. And they actually believed. They actually believed this. Well, actually, there are some parts of the world, if you're far enough north, like in Scandinavia, where it can be 24 hours of daylight. It's called the midnight sun. Certain times of year, it can be 24 hours of daylight. So that is possible. It's not like this isn't totally insane, but it does display a pretty big lack of awareness about how far Ottawa is, how far north Ottawa is, or you'd think we would have heard about if Canadians are living in 24 hours of daylight. But I can see where someone from England could be convinced that's true. They're kind of off in Europe, closer to Scandinavia. Maybe they got that confused with Canada. I don't know. I'm desperately trying to make some kind of excuse for them. I also told them that beaver tail is a local delicacy. Beaver tail, that's a thing, right? That's like a snack, a pastry in Canada, right? That is a thing. We steam the tail, crack open the shell, and eat the meat inside. It's funny because if this English person Googled beaver tail in Canada, they would like find stuff. And so they might actually be like, oh my God, this is a thing. They're eating literal beaver tails. That sounds very tough. The tail of a beaver, like literally, sounds very tough and gamey. I don't know why I'm thinking about it. The only annoying thing is if you get some, if you get some fur stuck between your teeth. Of course, this guy's good. This Canadian's pretty good. Really selling it. Really visceral. Yeah, the fur in your teeth. It's terrible. Friends tried to be polite and said they'd try it, but they had zero poker faces and looked somewhat horrified. Oh, so did he actually like get some beaver tails? Those are like that's some kind of Canadian like pastry, I know. Did they just think it was like fried beaver meat? Or okay, let's keep going down here. This is pretty good. These are pretty funny actually. There's no limit to what people are willing to believe about Canada. It's like Canada is just this far off land where none of us out here know what's going on. So we'll believe anything. Telling people that Canada gooses are peaceful creatures and love to be pets. You terrible. That's terrible. You cruel, cruel Canadian. Telling people Canada gooses are peaceful uh, and love to be pets. That's just spelling disaster for this poor person if they ever visit Canada. Because I have learned Canadian geese are not peaceful. They're the opposite. They want war. They want to bite you, which is also it's something I had to learn because here in America, gooses or geese are not aggressive. They're pretty like passive. People like to feed them bread, and if you kind of go up to them, they run away usually. Total opposite to what I've seen in some Canadian clips of Canadian geese literally like running at people, flying at your face. So they do not love to be pets. No. Calm down, Satan. Yeah, seriously. Seriously, calm down. Oh, that's just mean. Right. This person's going to get people killed by way of Canadian goose. Okay. Let's keep it going here. I wish I could take credit for this one. We in Calgary were working with a software developer in Oklahoma City, trying to set up a time and date for a meeting when July 1st was suggested. Oh, Canada Day just happened. Instead of telling them about Canada Day, my coworker explained the annual beaver cull, a day set aside in Canada where every Canadian is mandated to venture into the woods to hunt one beaver and keep the beaver population in check. Did they actually believe this? This is an American they're talking to. Again, if the American looked up July 1st, it'd like pop up as Canada Day, and they'd be like, maybe this is true. Canada Day, just like they told me. We have to strangle a beaver. And how he couldn't possibly make the meeting that day because his wife was sick, his children are too young, and his beaver quota was going to be 4. I admire the dedication to such an elaborate story. Did they actually believe this? It was an American, after all. Probably did. From Oklahoma. That's so mean. Oh my god. And it's such an elaborate story. Certainly wouldn't be made up. These people will never trust Canadians again, unfortunately, after this. In the military, we had many United States personnel posted within Canada. They are all good people, but we did have some fun with them. Make sure when you get your winter tires put on, you get winter air in your tires. Winter air. This reminds me of I know some people in the military, and there's a joke. They like to joke around with new recruits. And one of the things they do is if you are deployed and there's a Humvee, which is a vehicle, they'll ask you to go get the keys to the Humvee. And the joke is that a Humvee does not have keys. There's no keys for that military vehicle. And so the recruit goes around aimlessly looking for keys, and it's a big joke. And this is like the same thing. They're in the Canadian military, and they're like, all right, make sure winter air in your winter tires. Only winter air. you know all the summer humidity? It turns to ice in your tires and can shred. No way. And can shred them. It's not good at highway speed. Don't let them talk you into that 25 degrees Celsius stuff. You got to get the negative 40 degree air. I can this was at Americans as well. Oh no. Did you also mention cold weather blinker fluid? I guarantee this has worked on American military members. Guarantee! Oh no! And all the Canadian military just laughing. That is gold. That is gold. I like that. I like that kind of prank where it's not like harming anyone. It's just like kind of a harmless, funny little prank. Gotta get the cold weather blinker fluid, mind you. Okay. Let's keep going. These are pretty good. Mine is that people in the UK refuse to believe it gets down to negative 40 in the winter. Well, Americans definitely believe it's cold as all blazes in Canada. All the time, actually. Now, if a Canadian said, oh, it gets to negative 40, the problem is I wouldn't know what that means. Like most Americans like wouldn't even know what negative 40 means. I don't know how cold that is. It sounds really cold, but that's Celsius. That's the other temperature. We don't mess with that. And but in the UK, they use Celsius. They just don't believe it gets that cold in Canada. Certainly, and certainly if you go the more north you go, like what if you're in the Yukon or something? Like, is it really that unbelievable to them? How do you start your car? Oh, that must be a thing in Canada too. Like it getting so cold, because in the winter, even in America, like your battery can stop or your car won't start. This must be a big problem in Canada. I never thought about that. So the UK people are like, how do you start your car then? Well, sometimes you don't, but generally you plug it in a block heater. Like a dedicated heater for your car. That is the most Canadian thing ever. I believe it. They still thought I was lying. This is like a dedicated heating thing to make sure your car can start in the winter. That's so smart, but holy cow, that says something about Canadian winter. Oh my gosh. When I was 20, I moved to Alberta. I woke up one day and my car wouldn't start. I thought I'd have to take it to the shop. The next day, my coworkers said, did you plug it in? And I said, no, it's not electric. They made fun of me for a while. It's not plugging it in to charge the car. It's plugging in this block heater. Wow. That's actually a thing, huh? Alberta. Yeah, Alberta gets really, really cold, right? I feel like I've done other videos about how cold it gets in Alberta in particular. The frozen toilet paper. That's what it was. Oh my. Right. Okay. What else do we have here? Funny things people actually believe about Canada would be my whole class in grade 9 had our brand new science teacher convinced that cantaloupes were short for Canadian antelopes. This is a science teacher? I don't know if this isn't good. He knew about the melons, of course, but we told him this was a very different thing. A big species of antelope. That's kind of like a moose, but it has horns instead of antlers. That'd be terrifying, a horned moose. Eventually, even staff got in on the prank. The gym teacher invited him to go cantaloupe hunting. Are you kidding me? We had him going for months. This is, again, it's harmless, but it's also like, this poor guy. Where was he from? There's a new science teacher? That is funny. Oh my god. Like, cantaloupes are actually a Canadian antelope. That's a level of gullible. It's like, I don't know. So far, this stuff has been like, I understand how someone might believe it if they're in Canada, trusting the, the very trusting Canadians that we all put our trust in, and then you're lying to us, making us look like fools. But cantaloupe, thinking that's an animal, I don't know. That's very gullible. I was talking to a lady from northern Australia where the climate is very warm. It was about 5 above, and she was complaining about how cold it was. What is 5 above? I. That's like probably 40 Fahrenheit, maybe? 5 Celsius? Because 35 Celsius is like 90 degrees. I don't. That's my only benchmark for how Celsius and Fahrenheit are related. Okay, 5 above. I think that's like right in between cold and warm, let's say. Maybe a little chilly. And she was complaining about how cold it is. She was going to the prairies, and I warned her that it would get much colder. She thought I was making fun of her because she was a tourist. It couldn't get colder than it already was. It goes to minus 40. Plus wind chill, I said. Then she knew I was teasing her. What is with all these people who don't believe it's cold in Canada? That's the exact opposite problem that Americans have. We think it's always cold. We think it's always negative 40 in Canada. But these people from like Australia or Europe have like a different set of assumptions, I guess, which is interesting to me. She thought I was teasing her. Just keep some cash with you. When you get there, ask directions to a place where you can buy a down parka. What is a down parka? That's exactly what I'm asking. I don't know what a down parka is either. It's something you wear, I think. It's a hollow coat stuffed with bird feathers. I'm not good at explaining Canadian life. This is literally just like describing normal Canadian life and behavior. And people around the world are like, no, that can't be true. You're not wearing coats with bird feathers in the cold. It's like, it's funny how when you just tell the truth about Canada, people are like, no, that's not true. That the Scottish character on Canadian Tire Money is a former king of Canada. What did I just read? The Scottish character. There's a Scottish character on the Canadian Tire Money. Canadian Tire is a store in Canada. It has like special money that you can spend at the store, I think. And there's a Scottish character on it. I didn't know that. And that is a former king of Canada. That's a joke. Okay, okay. That took me a moment. The American in me is showing. I was really thinking like, really? That's a former king of Canada? And then I was like, stop. Use your brain, your American brain. No, this is a joke, right? There's no king of Canada. I took it one step further. In 1988, I was at a Burger King in a small town in Washington, Idaho border. I used Canadian Tire money for a meal. Well, there's no way that was accepted. But I would be intrigued to even like look at it. I'd be like, what on earth? I would think it's Canadian money. You could trick me and be like, this is just Canadian money. This is what it looks like. I'd be like, that would work on Americans, but there you have it. I think that's a good place to stop. This was quite enjoyable, actually. I thought this sounded like a funny topic, just like things people believe about Canada, because for all of us outside of Canada, we don't really know what goes on up there. So we're kind of willing to believe whatever. And it's very true from what I read here today. This is quite funny. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these funny stories. or any funny stories of your own about things that people believe about Canada. That'd be fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.